Hey guys, welcome back. You're listening to Wealthy AF podcast, where we cut through all the BS and teach you what it truly means to be wealthy AF. And with that being said, today we have Charlene Byers. And Charlene is a relationship expert and a dating and love coach. She has studied women and men in relationships for over 20 years. That's a long time, my dear. And is a creator and founder of Relationship Revolution Systems and Chosen, a program for successful single women who want to be in a relationship with a devoted masculine man. Her passion is coaching and leading women to live their most empowered lives and attract their soul-aligned, devoted masculine man. Charlene is also a podcaster, which hopefully she'll mention it here, a little bit about her podcast. We were talking a little bit off air, and she's doing some amazing work there. I think a bunch of my female friends need to listen to you, to your podcast and what you're doing there. I want to talk about that too, because you're doing some good stuff there. So Charlene, thank you for coming on the podcast and welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you. I was really looking forward to talking to you. I love your podcast. And I was like, oh, I'm so happy to be a guest here today. Seriously, thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. You're welcome, my dear. So my first question to you is, how do you define masculinity from a female's perspective? Let's start there, because today's topic is a female's perspective on male masculinity. And I believe that masculinity, my opinion, this day and age is under attack. When it's so mainstream, the words toxic masculinity and all this bullshit, excuse my language, that's being put out there on masculinity. So I'd love to hear your perspective, 20 years in the field doing what you're doing.
So first I want to say, I love that you said that masculinity gets such a bad rap. And I think it's BS too. And when I talk about masculinity and I talk about, it's just like with anything else. I mean, of course, you can have a man that's in his masculinity and he's a jerk. Like, seriously.
Right.
And
you have a female. You can have a female that's that too.
And I say the same thing. I said, jerks are either jerks or jerkettes. It's not gender. You can be a female, you can be a jerk. I call it jerkette. I just like to, have a name for it. But it's both ways. And what's interesting to me is, I'm going to answer this question, but I'm going to go a little around for a second. What's interesting to me is not only the bad rap that men are receiving, with their masculinity, which me as a mother, first of all, I'm a mother of 4 boys and I have a girl. So 4 boys and 1 girl. And I have, really have been in the world of men, forever. It's just my jam, right? And when we talk about like masculinity and we talk about feminine energy and masculine energy, what's the bad rap is they truly don't understand what it means. They think that masculinity is, I'm in control. I'm boss, so I'm going to do whatever I want. And that is like the opposite of true masculinity.
Yes.
But I've learned about man that's in his like real masculine man. He's actually truly one of the most gentle souls. He actually has the ability, which is that emotional maturity, to be able to be safe for a woman. And I'm not just talking safe in the physical part. I'm talking safe with her heart. Because a true masculine man, he has room for women. He respects women. He understands women. And he's in a different position in what a masculine man really, to me, possesses is such a solidness, such a direction. Like, this is how I explain this. So like, I feel as a woman, I'm a very feminine woman. And I used to really, I would say for the most part, I would be more in my masculine energy. Okay. So we're going to get into like the masculine energy. But when I started learning what true masculinity is and what true feminine energy is, I was able to like understand that when you are around a solid masculine man, it actually gave me as a woman who has always been, like the boss babe, go, 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 do, do, do. I have a whole story why I do the work I do and why I'm here. But when you have that, energy of the do, 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 go, 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 that masculine energy that I used to have, I really didn't trust men. I really didn't allow a true masculine man to come into my life. When I finally realized and I understood what masculinity is and the beautiness of it, to me, it's just the most, I just love it so much. I love a true masculine man. It allowed me as a woman to let go of my guard and to feel safe and to feel vulnerable and to feel like my man got me. Like, because feminine energy and masculine energy are completely opposite, and they're both amazing, and they're both strong, and they're both needed, and they're both beautiful. And the deal is that those energies, it's not gender specific, right? So like, you have a man that's, a lot more in his feminine energy, not necessarily his masculine, or you can have a woman that's a lot in her masculine. So it's not gender specific, but when you have the alignment and things get aligned and you are really a woman that is truly resonates with the feminine. And what I've learned is working with so many people, like the majority, I'm going to speak about the majority of men, honestly, they identify with the masculine energy. Mm-hmm. And the majority of women, they identify more with the feminine energy. We're just getting a little confused right now. And so true masculinity, I'm just going to wrap this up in a bow. To me, true masculinity is a man who is emotionally secure, and he has his own direction. He knows who he is, and he knows how to show up for women. And we need to change this conversation about masculinity, because all I'm hearing is toxic masculinity, where there's toxic feminine women too. I'm like, and so another thing that really, really gets to me is when you think of genders, so you have, female genders and male genders. We can't say that a whole gender, which is the males, is bad. Like, they're all toxic. Like, that's just BS. No, it's all of us. It's all of us. So there's the toxic in the women, there's the toxic in the men. It's just really understanding and being in alignment, like where to look for, those healthy masculine men, and where to find like the more healthier feminine women. A little tangent, because I
know that was good stuff. But you're sparking up some questions and my curiosity.
Yes.
Do you think that the feminist, right? That's what you call it. The feminist movement has anything to do with this whole toxic masculinity thing? And what impacts do you think that movement? I have my own ideas and my thoughts on that. I'd like to get your thoughts on that. Here's the thing, right? So the feminist movement, and I don't know, this conversation can go different ways, but hey, we're having it. Yeah, no, let's just have it. So the feminist movement, they're about women, protecting women and equal rights, and women were the same, blah, blah, blah. Great. It's so hypocritical to hear the same feminists now today say it's okay to have a man participate in women's sports. That's bullshit. Like, you're a hypocrite. Like, you're supposed to be all about the women, but you're supporting a dude playing. Let me dress up, because the dude that's playing in women's sports is the dude that failed in male sports and now is going to go dominate in the women's sports. And all the girls are afraid. They don't want to get dressed in the dressing room and all this bull crap. And it's like, it's hypocritical. And they're the same ones saying men are bad, but they're allowing men to play in their sports. It's just confusing to me.
Oh, gosh. So many here. No, I'm right with you. It's actually just, to me, again, being a female woman, feminine woman, and I'm a mother of a daughter. So I'm obviously a big believer in women and women's rights and all those good things. But there's the but here. That is such BS. Mm-hmm. Are you kidding me? You cannot take, this is what I'm not liking. Like, this is what's really driving me crazy. Because I'm 51 years old. So, I'm very young, but, I've been around a little bit. So I'm not like in my 20s, I'm not in my 30s. I'm 51 years old. And one thing that I have realized throughout my journey is that a woman's a woman, a man's a man. And what is that? We are actually created different. We literally are created differently. And that is the beauty of us. When a man was, it doesn't mean that women can't do things that men can do. Men can't do things women can do. Yes, 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 whatever. Like, seriously. But do we really want to?
That's the question.
Seriously, because we don't. What's happening is we are truly getting brainwashed. We're getting brainwashed because what I know about women, and I'm talking, let me
Talking as a woman.
Yeah, and what I know about us women in generalization, again, there's difference in everything, but let's truly talk about like the general public. Come on. And women, we do resonate more with the feminine, and we have no desire to compete with a male. Because I'm saying this genetically, you guys, come on.
Can't compete with us. We're stronger.
We're born completely different. Our bodies are different. Our way that we process things are different. Our hormones are different. A man cannot, if you're born a man, you cannot birth a child, period. And your body is not made to birth a child. If you're, that's just not what it's made for. So when you take men that are trying to participate in women's sports, I mean, this to me is just like such a disservice to us women.
Yes, it is.
It's such a disservice because we will never be able to have the strength and the capability of a male body. It's just how it is. It's like why people can't understand that it's different, and that's how God created us, and it's actually freaking amazing. It's amazing that we're so different. Trust me, I love that my husband, he's a full, solid, masculine man. And let me just tell you something. I'm a woman that my parents came here, migrated from Cuba. Okay. So I'm first generation, woman here. I didn't even speak English until I was like 6 years old. So I grew up in an environment that I feel like I came from a jungle. And I, as a little girl, have had to pretty much, I really had a really dark childhood. And it wasn't, it's just what happened. It just was what happened. It had nothing to do with me. It's just, the cards that I was dealt. So I had a really, really dark childhood. So since I was a little girl, I've had to like really protect myself. I've had to really understand that. And I've had to like learn street smarts. I'm really tough. Now, if you look at me, I'm a very feminine woman, and and I love to be in that energy. But if I'm somewhere out and about and there's something going on,
turn it on. You know how to turn it on.
Like, I'm like, we're good. I always say, I'll cut you. Right? Don't mess with me.
Like a one on you.
But I have no interest as a woman to have to do any of that because like I have my husband and I feel, oh, thank you, Jesus, that my husband is a masculine man. Thank you, Jesus. My man, when we're walking on the sidewalk, he walks on the outside of that damn sidewalk because he's like, you know what? I'm going to protect my lady. I'm going to make sure if there's something here happens that, you know what? I'm the man. I'm here to protect her. I'm not here to protect the guy. That's not my job because I actually physically pretty much couldn't, like seriously, any man pretty much for the most part can like take over me. Like, honestly, come on, ladies. And unless you're at the gym 24 hours and you're like buff and beefy, and then maybe you can like, beat the guy up, but that doesn't how it works. So yes. So we have to really slow this down and understand what is it that we truly actually want each gender. Like, what are we looking for? And the way that we've done things, from back in the day actually works. It actually works. It gives, when we're talking about the masculine and the feminine energy, and you take that and you really look at it for that way, that's what we are truly missing. We're missing that again. We have gone too crazy.
Yeah. Let me share a quick story with you. So a week ago, I'm at Sam's Club with my wife.
Okay.
And we're buying water bottles, the big 24. So my wife is like, hey, babe, we need 2 of those. She ain't picking it up. She's like, 2 of those in our cart, right? So I was like, all right. I put them in the cart. And so we see there's a lady that's struggling, little, I'm going to say she's 100 pounds wet, little lady. And my wife is like, help her, right? My wife is telling me, help the lady. And then, so I go to the lady and say, hey, do you need a hand? And the thing this lady said to me, this is the feminist movement. No, I can do it. She's struggling, like visually. My wife is telling me, help the lady, right? And I could see the lady struggling. I see her physically struggling, trying to kick the thing under her car. And she tells me, no, I got it. I'm strong. This is her exact same words. No, I got it. I'm strong. I go to the gym every day. And I just looked to my wife and I just looked at each other. We just smiled and we walked away. And my wife said to me, hell no. If it were me, I would have said, yep, absolutely. Grab it. Put it in there for me. Sure, no problem. This is a woman. This is what the feminist movement has done to women, where they won't even take help from a man because they feel they're just so strong. It was a kind gesture. I'm with my wife. And ladies, if that's you, I just want to say something to you, and I'm going to speak to those women as a man. That is the biggest and the absolute biggest turnoff for a man. When a man is trying to do something kind for you, because in order for a man to feel love, he needs three things. He needs to feel needed, he needs to feel wanted, and he needs to feel respected. And the minute a man doesn't feel needed because you're the boss bitch and you got it all, then he's like, what's the point? Why am I here for? Right?
I 100% agree with you. No, I 100% agree with you. Let me tell you what's going on is, unfortunately, seriously, the message that society is telling women, the message that our mothers are telling us, the message that we're hearing constantly, you don't need a man. Do it on your own. Boss babe. Go. You can do it just like a man. Well, let me tell you what's coming out of this. We have women that are exhausted. We have women that are doing everything. We have women now that are constantly like in a state of anxiety, constantly in a state of frustration, really confused, not knowing what the hell to do, not knowing like if they're doing it right or wrong. But really, they slow down. Let me tell you what they really are longing for. They're actually longing for, just like men are longing for, companionship.
Companionship, 100%.
Like true, intimacy with a person that has your back, that you can trust. We're not actually meant to be here alone, you guys. Like, I don't get this. We're not meant to be here alone. We're actually this is where we as human beings, this is where we thrive. This is where we grow. When you're just like, is there anything wrong, if you're in a stage in your life and you're like, let's say if you were in a relationship and now you're not in that relationship and you're in a stage in your life and you're really alone and you're finding yourself and you're healing. No, there's nothing wrong with that. But why are you doing that? You're doing that because you want to get yourself in a place to find a partner. Because I always say this, like, again, I'm a very passionate Christian woman. And that's my belief. And so I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, and I believe in the Bible. And I feel like the noise that we're hearing is trying to tell people this is what's going to make you happy. When you're independent and you me, and me and me and do and money and grow. People are not happy. I'm just telling you right now, they are not happy. Because if you are not able to really share that with someone, there's this part of us as humans that when we are able to like give and take care of another human being and look at, and really be there, that's what actually lights us up. And that's what I've known about for so many people. Like, you can only do me for so much. Like it's right. It doesn't work. So when you are a woman and you're like, and especially like with a man too, if you are thinking that you can do it all, then you don't need a man. That's exactly what he's going to do. What's the purpose of him? Because he's like, if you're thinking, well, I can do it all, I can carry it all, I can do it all, I can do it all, I can do it all. Well, then that's the signal and the message that you're saying is that I want to be alone. That I want to be alone.
100%.
And that's not, they don't want to be alone. This is what I'm trying to tell you. This is the confusion. Women don't want to be alone. Are you kidding me?
They've been sold this story, Charlene,
Yes.
of I'm strong, I could, and you are. Like I look at my wife. My wife is one of the strongest women I
Yes.
know. Right? This lady is, but she chooses to be in her feminine. Like she told me, like, man, I'm not. If I got a man that can pick the thing up for me, I don't want to take out the garbage. Can she take out the garbage? Absolutely. Can she do that stuff? For sure. Does she want to? No. She's like, no, I don't want to.
No, I don't want. It's the same thing. Because women, honestly, ladies, let me tell you something. How amazing the feminine energy is. When we are really able to, be in our feminine energy with the masculine man, it actually works, you guys. There's this thing that I teach. It's called polarity. Okay, and polarity's been around for a long time. And what polarity does is really allows that energy to flow with one another, so we can have that connection. Because we're not talking, you guys, listen, ladies, men. Today we're having a conversation about romance, about romantic relationships. We're not having a conversation about platonic relationships. So how do we have aligned romantic relationships that grow and thrive? Think about this, that grow and thrive, and both male and female feel all the warm and fuzzies, okay? Because both male and female, it matters. It's not just what the woman, it's not just what the man. That's what polarity is. It allows both parties, which is the male and the female, to be able to have that alignment and that connection and that spark with each other. That spark, you guys, because we're talking about romance. We're talking about like that, the juiciness, not just your regular, whatever. We're talking about sex. We're talking about like how we feel excited and wanted with our partner. Well, if you're not having that polarity, it just fizzles out and you actually become like roommates. And why are we getting into romantic relationships seriously? To be roommates. Why are we getting into romantic relationships so he can be going to the left and you can be going to the right and we're not even doing life together? This doesn't make any sense. Then you're better off just being alone. Seriously. Don't even waste your time. But if you're going to get yourself in a romantic relationship, that the polarity is really thriving and that the relationship is growing and there's this safeness for both male and female. And when a man, like when you just said about what a man needs and what a woman needs, it's totally fine. It's different, but it's
very different.
It's sexy. It's like, come on, you guys. That's the whole point. You can't have that type of relationship, romantic. You're not going to have that type of intimacy relationship with anybody else. You know how deep you can go with your partner? Go deep. Get there. Go in those layers. So it matters. To me, it really matters, the feminine and the masculine energy, because when a woman is completely just in her masculine energy, she's miserable.
100%. A woman gets tired, burnt out when she's in her masculine, which leads me to my next question. What are some of the biggest challenge women are facing today in attracting a masculine man? Because everything you're saying, I know every woman right now that's listening to this is saying, yeah, I'd love to have a man. And we call it a masculine man, in my opinion, is a man that's in his frame, a man that can stand strong and it's not emotionally up and down. The other day, my wife came into my office and she was like, 22 years, 27 years together, right? It's a long time. We know each other. She's like, I didn't like the way you talked to me. This was a couple of days ago. And we had a whole discussion about it. And Wednesdays for me are stacked with meetings. I'm meeting with project managers, my business and my team, and they're just stacked with my partners, my property manager, stacked with meetings. She said something to me, or she was making a request, and I just, so many decisions, and maybe I was short with her. But she had the freedom, she felt safe enough to come into my office and call me on that.
Hell yeah, I love
Call me on that. And I was like, thank you for letting me know I missed that. And we need to create some boundaries here, right? I think you forgot Wednesdays I'm stacked. I missed it. I have so many decisions in my head, and here you're asking me to call this person. You're adding one more thing to my list. And it just unconsciously, it didn't sit well with me, and I just kind of responded to you. Not in a positive way, but we were able to talk that through. A lot of women want that masculine man, but they're going against their actions. It's a repellent.
Yeah.
like the lady in the thing. So what are some of the biggest challenges you see that women face today in attracting those men?
I think the biggest challenge women face today in attracting a masculine man is because she's operating in her masculinity, period. And so what's happening is when a woman is operating in her masculinity, and we're going to talk about what that means, but when a woman is operating in her masculinity, she actually repels those masculine men. They have no desire. You just said it earlier on in this conversation. If you're a masculine man and you see a woman, and I don't care how beautiful she is. Ladies, this is not about just looks.
Beauty.
I think that's wrong because let me say something. A man will, I just actually did a post like this the other day. I wrote something. A man will notice your looks. Absolutely.
First, we'll notice that first.
Looks, but you know what? He'll fall for you based on how you make him feel. Does he feel also like seriously? Because one of the main things I know you talked about, like, you're a man and you talked about obviously, what men need in general. One of the things that I know for sure that men need is they need to feel accepted. They don't need a woman trying to change them. Like seriously, like when a man is falling for a woman and that's how he feels safe. Wow, she's not trying to change me.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. This is like that is like a light bulb moment for a man that he's able. This is when women say to me, they're like, I hear this about men all the time. Oh, he doesn't talk. He doesn't express himself. I'm like, yeah, he doesn't feel safe to. Think about it. Because really a true masculine man, if he's in his if he's really in his masculine, he will always choose peace before anything else.
100%.
So, if he doesn't feel safe to talk to his lady, he's going to shut down, ladies. Because every time he talks, you're telling him he's wrong. You're telling him what to do. You're telling him how to do it. You're fixing whatever he did or didn't do. It's constant. It's constant. It's constant. So he's just going to shut up. He's just done. So what I'm saying is, so what the biggest problem is, so if a woman is not understanding these energies and she's operating her masculine energy, you know what she attracts?
Feminine guys.
Very feminine men.
That's exactly. And they hate it. And then they hate it. Yeah.
Oh, they hate it. At first, no, let me tell you something. This is fun because at first they think they won the lottery. They're going, he's so go with the flow. But then they start realizing as time goes by, oh shoot, he makes no decisions. I'm doing it all. I'm planning all the dates. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm like, so it's such a turnoff. It's actually such a turnoff as time goes by because it's almost like they're attracting men with no spine. And they're attracting men that are actually really looking for a mother. And so they naturally just become the mother. And now they're in this relationship. And seriously, like who wants to have a romantic relationship that you feel like you're the mother? Or you feel like the boy? It doesn't work. Because that's not really what is in us. What is in us as women is we love a man that can lead, a man that, has direction, a man that is, like you said, emotionally secure, and he can handle you. Because women have so many different emotions. We're very emotional beings, and that's okay. That's so fabulous with us.
We're
very emotional. Are you kidding me? You guys, that's how our bodies are made. Are you kidding me? That's just life. That's just what it is. So for me, this is how I look at a feminine energy. So it's like this. So my husband, to me, he's very in his masculine. So I picture Mark. He's like this mountain. Okay. So he's like this still mountain. He's just like, oh. And this is Charlene. Charlene's the ocean. So Charlene's like, whew, and I crash against the mountain and like, and then I go back out, and then I can get calm again. And then I crash against the mountain again. And he's like, but he can handle me. He can handle me. He doesn't take on my emotion. We don't have to fight about it. He's not like, oh my God, why are you acting this way? Well, that's what happens when you're dealing with a feminine man. They take everything so personal. And they don't allow you to just have that, ability as a woman to just be a woman with our emotions and with our hormones and all of that. So that's where women are miserable because they're like, oh my gosh, this is exhausting. So that is truly one of the biggest issues that I'm noticing. We have these amazing women. And ladies, I'm not saying that we're not amazing. You're amazing, Mom. I swear you're amazing. You just don't understand that you're really leading all with your masculine. But what you really want, and I know this to be true, what they really want, because I ask a question to women when I work with women, what they really want is they actually want to feel safe with the man. They want to feel that the man like truly wants them. Like wants them. They're like that man is like, girl, I'm your man. I love you. I got you, girl. They want that type of safety. They want a man that knows where he's going in life. Like he has an actual direction. You know, they're like, yeah, let's go. You know, they seriously, when you have a man that has direction and where he knows what he's going, do you know how beautiful it is when you have a woman on your side, how much that will catapult a man's life and how much that will catapult a woman's life? Because, you know, two is better than one. Like if you have a couch, think about this. Let's think about this. If there's this couch and you're going to try to move that couch, let me tell you something. It's going to be really hard trying to move that couch by yourself, girlfriends. But you got two people trying to move that couch because two is better than one. So it's just having a different conversation about what it is that we're really wanting in relationships and really allowing people to go in that direction. So I hope I answered the question.
You did. I want you to talk to the men real quick because you said something really important in what you said here when you started that statement. Can you tell the guys what does a masculine man really means to a woman?
So what I would say is when it comes to that is that what women are really wanting and respecting if they are in their feminine, they actually want men to lead. We're tired, guys. You know, it's really in our nature to be able to go with you on a journey. And when a man takes full responsibility for his life and he knows what he wants for his life, and I say this too about men, listen to this really clearly. It truly is a man's job, responsibility, call it whatever you want to call it. We're talking in this romance, you know, world. It really is a man's job to pursue a woman. And it's the woman's job to set the pace, okay? So if a man is interested in a woman, you guys, pursue her. Let her know loud and clear that you want her, that you want to be with her. You know, I had this great conversation. Oh my God, you're going to love this when we're talking about men. Listen to this. So I have 4 boys. And I was in the car yesterday. This happened yesterday. Oh, I was like, Owen, dang, you're ahead of the time here. So I was talking to Owen. Owen's 16-year-old. He's 16, you guys. He's gorgeous, tall. But I mean, he's a beast of a man. But anyway, but the way that he's already thinking and the way that he's looking at life, I'm like, Owen, you're going to be just fine. That's exactly what women are looking for. So he was telling me, he's like, Mom, he's like, let me tell you something. He said, you know, it's kind of weird because a lot of my friends, and, you know, and I'm thinking, okay, oh, and they're 16. What the hell? You know what I mean? At 16, you know, you're really trying to figure this out. He goes, Mom, a lot of my friends, he's like, they just don't get it. They actually don't get it. They really allow women to like control how they feel. I'm like, oh, what do you mean? There's something else. I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, they're kind of mean, Mom. And I'm like, okay. He's like, yes. He's like, they pick on guys. So like, take for an example. So let's say a guy's wearing a sweatshirt or something and it's, you know, it's different. And they'll be like, oh, what kind of sweatshirt is that? You know, whatever they say, right? Mm-hmm. And he goes, immediately my friends like kind of crumble. You know, they feel like, oh, like, what's wrong with my sweatshirt? You know, what's going on? He goes, yeah, they don't know how to like, just like
hold their frame. They don't know how to hold their frame.
Yeah. And I said, okay, what about you? Oh, what happened with you? What do you do? He said, oh, I'll tell you what I do. So like, let's say it's not even me, Mom, you know, because usually they, you know, they probably won't do that to me. And I'm like, okay. And he said, no, I'm not saying that, Mom. Don't get me wrong. I'm not acting like I'm not. And I said, I know you're humble. I know. And I'm not acting like I'm all that and cocky. He's like, I'll tell you the truth. He's like, I know, Mom, I'm a good looking man, but I don't need to act like that. Like, I'm fine. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, so what do you do, Owen? He's like, well, like, for an example, if a girl says that, he goes, I will calmly just look at her and be like, that's a really strange thing to say. And they'll always, Mom, I swear, they'll be like, oh, I didn't mean it like that. I'm sorry. It's like you got to kind of call them out without calling them out. You know, like I don't have to be a jerk about it, Mom. He said another word, but he's like, I don't have to be a jerk about it. He's like, but this is what I realized. He's like, I already had 2 girlfriends. And he goes, and so I kind of feel like, and you, Mom, like, it's me, I'm always talking about relationships. And he goes, and I kind of like understand, like, you just want a guy that really like takes the lead. This is his perspective. And I said, yeah. Right. He's like, so like for me, he's like, if I'm going to ask a girl out on a date, Mom, he's like, you girls are really indecisive. Like, honestly. And so I realized that. So I don't even go there anymore. He said, so if I'm going to ask a girl on a date, he goes, what I really realize is that, like, you guys do really well when I say something like this. Hey, I want to take you out on Friday. You're available for Friday. I can pick you up at 8:00. And I have this really great place I want to take you to. You probably have to dress really casual with, like, bring some layers.
I love it. This kid is sharp, man. This kid is sharp.
I was like, that was my style. And I'm like,
sharp.
I tell them what to wear, not like in a controlling way. I'm not.
Yeah, he's leading. He's assuming the sale, but I wish my salespeople were like him.
He said, no, you need to know. He's like, you ladies love that. You don't want to, like, I notice, so like, if I ask a woman, if I'm like, hey, where do you want to go eat? That's the wrong question. I have to say, hey, listen, I was thinking, we can go have sushi or we can have Mexican food. Which one are you in the mood?
I love it, man. This kid is sharp. This kid is sharp, man. That is sharp kid. Look, here's the thing, Charlene, right?
Tell me.
As a man, a lot of us don't have, I'm going to speak as an achiever because that's my personality. I'm an overachiever, right? So I'm a business owner and I like to win. So a lot of times for me, I'm going to speak for myself, and, birds of the same feather flock together, and men like myself, right? We get so caught up in our businesses and the things we're doing because we're trying to provide for our families, and we're just going. And sometimes we miss, and I'll speak for a lot of men, we miss the intentionality and the attention, because in order for women to feel love, they need attention. And we miss the intentionality and the attention. And I missed that for many years, 22 years being married. I missed that for many years. And it would be a lot of headbutting with my wife. You don't plan nothing, you don't do, and all that, right? I had to grow up. And for men, what my advice to men listening to this, if maybe this is you and you're listening and you're like, wow, yeah, Chinese or Japanese or what your son did, which is brilliant, right? Taking the lead and planning the dates. Women want this stuff. I have a book that I use. I have it on my desk over here, my studio. It's a journal. And in the journal, you write every day 3 things you're grateful for, your 3 top goals for the year, and then 3 things you're going to do today to get you closer to those goals. But at the beginning of the week, in that journal, you plan out what are the top things that are going to, for your goals, right? The top things you're going to do that week for your goals. And in that journal, for me, and this is what's one of my rocks, it's my marriage. And I had to be intentional with it for me as a man, because I know that my wife is looking for that. She doesn't want to be planning a date. She doesn't. She'll send me, what she does? She'll send me little, she'll send me little Instagram things, right? Like, hey, I found this place. Look at this place, this food truck, right? So she'll send them to me. She's giving me little hints, right? She's giving me little hints. So all I got to do now is, oh shit. So she sent me 3 or 4 little hints of little places she's quote unquote uncovering. So I just, okay, great. Babe. We're going to go here on Saturday.
She's not controlling you. She's not telling you what to do, helping you out.
Yeah.
The way, and it's you to grab it.
Yeah. She's throwing me little crumbs, right? So I'm like, babe, thank you. I'm busy. My days are stacked. And so she's throwing me little crumbs. But for me at the beginning of the week, I'm spending on Sundays, okay, what's my intention for next week around my marriage, around my relationship? What can I do? And I have date nights, right? I'm like, I'm intentional. Like I write it down, guys. So when I first started doing this, one day my wife comes in, she looks at my book, and she got pissed. Charlene, she got pissed. She was like, I can't believe that you have to put me in your calendar. Da, 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 da. And I just looked at her. I was like, babe, what I've been doing hasn't been working. And this is what I need to make this work.
Like, that's another thing. Please tell men, like, honestly, like, don't take on her energy. Yeah. A lot of men have a tendency to take, if the woman's all frantic or the woman's frustrated and the way that she's expressing herself, right? And have a tendency to take on that energy and take it personal. It's not personal. It's for her to have her own energy and for a man to be able to understand, okay, babe, we process differently. We are different. And that's actually okay. So
and that's exactly what I did. I was like, babe, she got all mad and she for a day, and then I was like, babe, fine, but this is what I know, what I need to make sure that you get what you need, and you feeling that way right now, but it is what it is. This is what I need to do.
That's really good. It sounds like that you stood in that space.
In my frame, yeah. I had to stay in my frame because I couldn't, because I know what I need. Like I know myself enough. Like, hey, dude, I get it. You feel this way because you see it, but because I had to write it down. But hey, this is what I need. I know what I need to make this work.
And let me just say this. And if you are like, I love that you just said that. I think that's fantastic. Because if you're listening today and, we went all over, with masculine and feminine energy, all the things. But if you are like listening and you're like, okay, so what I'm hearing today is, to have a thriving romantic relationship, there needs to be polarity. And polarity is, really aligning with the energy. So which is the masculine and the feminine energies. And how can, if we're specifically, when we started out today talking about, women, looking for a true masculine man. And a lot of time, it's the same thing. Like when men are looking for a real feminine woman, they're not getting, each party's not really getting what they're desiring the most. So what's happening here? I'm going to just throw this out there to give someone some tips on how you can actually slow this down a little bit and put yourself in a different position, especially if you're single and you are looking for a partner and you haven't had the best luck in the past, okay? So one thing I want to say is when you are dating, please, 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 please slow this down. Slow the process down. There is no need to rush anything. And what happens is when we're rushing things is because the majority of us, a lot of people are lonely and they are not, I want to say, well, yes, some desperateness, and then they're lonely, they're frustrated. They can't find what they're looking for. So a lot of times we settle in these relationships that really don't fulfill us. And we keep going on, and we're not in these relationships that fulfill us. Like you, it seems like with you, you and your wife, that's what people are looking for. There's no perfect relationship, but they're looking for a relationship that you guys can grow together, stay together, and learn each other as you're going. But that's not what people are getting into. So people now are rushing so fast, right? You guys, you're dating. You're not, first of all, you're not enjoying dating. Dating has become such a chore. You're not enjoying it, and you end up in relationships that you're not happy with. Well, how are we going to slow that all down, and how can you actually meet your partners? This is the advice and the tip that I'm going to give you today. When you first meet someone, it's really important that you understand that whoever that person is, you actually don't know who they are. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have a good feeling, a bad feeling, whatever that is. You actually don't know who that person is. So if you are meeting someone for the very first time, what happens is all of us, when we meet someone for the very first time, it's almost like it's like we look at people, it's like a picture frame. We see people with the lenses of how we want to see them in the very beginning. It doesn't necessarily mean that's who that person is. It just means that there's something there that we associate with. Like for an example, so let's say the guy had a really funny humor. So all of a sudden you associate that, oh, my dad has that kind of humor. So that's where we allow ourselves like immediately to say, oh, we know who this person is, or we trust this person. We actually don't know that person. That's just a little picture frame of who we think they might be. But what happens is if you give this enough time and you go through the process that I'm teaching, I'm going to teach right now, It gives you an opportunity to actually really get to know someone. So when you meet someone, ladies, when you meet a man, and men, this can go for you too, okay? You actually need to first get to know them. That's the first one. No, you have to get to know them. How do you get to know someone? It takes a little time. It takes time to see as time goes by, do their words match their actions? Because when you first meet someone, anyone can show up their best self. They can say, I'm this, they can act like this, they can be polite, they can do this. But in time, do their words and their actions match in time? And when you first get to know someone, have you been able to surround yourself with people that know that person? And how is that person around people that know that person? How is that person around wait staff? How is that person talk about their past? How does that person talk about life? Like, what are the things that you're hearing? Okay. So then when you get to know someone, the second phrase is, then you start getting to trust that person, because you start realizing, okay, as time goes by, I'm noticing that things are matching up. And as time goes by, you start trusting that person. So you're not having to rush this. We're not in a committed relationship right now. This is what dating is all about. Dating is all about getting to know someone, so we don't end up in a toxic relationship with a toxic guy or a toxic girl. Okay, so now when you start trusting that person based on time and getting to know them, then you can start relying on them. Think about this. You're getting to know them. You're starting to trust them. And now you can rely on them. So now you realize, you know what? When that person talks and says they're going to do something, they have integrity all the time. Now you're like, oh, I really rely on this person. They say what they're going to do, and they do what they say. Then when you rely on someone, you guys, that's when you actually commit. And then when you commit to someone is when you touch. Because if we are touching before we're committing and we're not getting to know someone, that's where we're getting in these toxic relationships. That's when we're going against our hormones, which all of us will start happening when we start having some chemistry with someone, because chemistry can be very confusing. You can't just lead by chemistry, because chemistry will confuse you. Chemistry is based
much wisdom in what you just said, Charlene.
Chemistry, let me tell you what happens with chemistry. When you first meet someone, you have all your oxytocin. This is just how the body reacts. Oxytocin, the dopamine, it releases. And when that releases, you guys, this is science. What it does is it literally shrinks your critical thinking. Okay. So if you have a picture of a brain and a picture of a brain when someone has chemistry with someone and when someone doesn't have chemistry. So when someone's not having chemistry with someone, it's like, it's all nice and fleshy. It's all the things are working nice. But when you have that those chemicals are releasing, your brain, your critical thinking, it's like this little dot, it shrinks. And this is when we ignore the red flags. This is why we get in these crazy relationships with the narcissist and all this.
I've never heard that before, Charlene, never heard that before. And that's such an amazing framework, especially for young people. Young people don't have a frame, like not even young people, just us in general. We don't have a framework on how to navigate.
I think what it is, it's just like I said, it comes down to when you slow things down and you don't rush that process. Because you guys, if that person's really meant for you and it's amazing and you think, oh, we gotta quickly, lock this in and become in a committed relationship, that's silly. Because if that person is really meant for you and you guys have a good alignment and you guys are really connecting with one another, guess what's going to happen? It's going to get better in time. It's actually going to get better. So that's how you know. Because you're like, oh, this is really good, because it gets better. And that's why you don't have to rush it. And that's why you don't have to ever worry about that. You don't have to commit and be intimate with someone until you really know who they are.
Charlene, thank you so much for coming on. I'm really, really grateful. I have one final question for you.
Yes.
Is there anything you haven't shared that you should have shared that would bring a tremendous, or something I didn't ask that I should have asked, that would bring a tremendous amount of value to the listeners and myself?
Yes. I think we have to talk about what is dating for, because I think that conversation is really important. I feel like overall men kind of understand this. but women don't. And ladies, so I want to say this loud and clear. If you are a single lady and you're not committed to anybody and you don't know who that person is, my suggestion is it's very important that dating is all about getting to know someone. And I suggest if you really want to get the best suitor for the job, the right guy for you, you don't put all your eggs in one basket. And when you allow yourself to be open and you date multiple people, because remember, I'm not talking about sleeping with people. I'm not talking about being in a committed relationship. I'm literally just talking about getting to know that person. And when you position yourself and you date, and my minimum dating is 3 people at a time. And a lot of people get really worked up. They're like, what does that mean? Like 3 people at a time? Well, think about this. If you are getting to know 3 different people at a time, you're really going to find out what it is and how those men are really showing up. And you're going to see like who it is that you are really having connection with. Because if you put all your eggs in one basket and you just get to know one guy at one time, do you understand? It's like sales. The odds of you, it really is. The odds of you really nailing the right person is going to be slim. But if you open that up and you allow yourself that space to truly position yourself to get to know different people, that is going to give you the clarity on what it is and who it is that you really are aligning with. And it's going to show you the difference between people. And when you just concentrate on just that one person, that clouds your thinking. You get a little more obsessed. You start putting all your concentration on that one person. And really, you don't know that person yet because it takes time to get to know that person. So my advice for you is slow things down, please. And understand there's nothing wrong getting to know different people. And position yourself dating different people. And dating, again, is just getting to know who they are.
Of course, using that framework that you gave doesn't feel, and I'm going to just, as I speak, I would suppose would for a woman doesn't feel slutty if they're using the framework you just gave, because what you're doing is getting to know someone. You're not sleeping. So let's just be clear. Let's just be really, really clear. She gave a clear framework, and it first is get to know. Right. And when she says, and please correct me if I'm interpreting this wrong, you said date 3 people, but you're getting to know because that leads to the trust and then the relying. And that just makes so much sense. The framework you gave just makes so much sense. And it doesn't have to feel, ladies or gents, right? Because some of us men have integrity. Not all of us are dogs. And some of us have integrity. We want to do the right thing. That will not make you feel like you're out of integrity because you're just getting to know people. So that is really, really good counsel. Very, very well said. If people wanted to connect with you, my dear, how do they find you? Where do they connect with you? How do they bring you on maybe as their coach? How do they join your tribe and your community?
If you want to find me like right now, I'm on social media. I'm on social media constantly. And I do a lot of everyday stories and content on Instagram. And that's MS Charlene, Charlene Byers, Byars, MS Charlene Byers. That's my Instagram. And I also have a website. I'm also a columnist, and I write for a magazine about women's empowerment, relationships. And you can find all that information on my website, which is Charlene Byers, and Charlene at, charlenebyers.com. Charlene Byers is Charlene Byers, Charlene. Plus, I also, and I don't know if you can leave it in the show notes.
We'll put all of this in the show notes so you know.
Yeah.
So
if
just share
this
it.
resonates with you, ladies, and you are really like, I really, like, I'm hearing this. Like, I'm noticing that I am also, in my masculine energy, and I don't know a lot about feminine energy. And I do want to find a really great guy and all those things that might be coming up. I have lots of free resources, and I specifically have a resource, and it depends on what you're looking for. I have a free masterclass that you can watch, and you can learn some things that you can apply immediately in your life. And then I also have a free ebook, because if you're more of like a reader, that truly is the same concept that you can apply things immediately to help you shift into your feminine energy and get into other things that we didn't talk about today. And that's just a free resource. And that's called The Magnetic Woman, like how to truly find your aligned partner. And I'm also a podcast host. I have this amazing podcast, just like the amazing podcast I'm on today. I have a podcast called Love Stories and with Charlene Byers. And we talk about all of this. We talk about dating. We talk about how to find great men, how to really work the relationship so it can thrive, because that's the mission I'm on. I'm on a mission that, love is available for all of us. And let's make sure that we have great relationships, that we're growing and thriving, and both of us, male and female, feeling all the warm and fuzzies. And so I'm here to help. I also have programs. I have one-on-one work you can do with me, and you can reach me at, like I said, my website. You can book a call. It's a free 45-minute call, and we'll just get on a call, and we'll do a nice love breakthrough call with you, and I'll give you a guide so you can, go on and have some guidance there. So if this is resonating with you today, thank you so much.
That's awesome. Thank you, Charlene. Ladies, if you're listening, those of you that are listening, not if you're listening, but those of you that are listening that resonate, I know quite a few ladies in my circle, friends that can use following you and listening to your content. I know that this is a struggle for a lot of ladies. Follow Charlene, listen to her stuff. It might be helpful and impactful. Thank you, Charlene, for coming on here. Thank you for the conversation, my dear. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much.